Hey everyone, Justin, Erika, and Lev here. We just wanted to shoot this video to update everyone on Lev's epilepsy journey. Currently, he just finished up 28 days of high hormone injections that were used to control his infantile spasms. We wanted to make this video because we thought it would be therapeutic just to kind of explain
like how this all started, where we began.
So we figured we'd go back to the beginning of how it kind of all started, which was about 2 months ago, and kind of just talk about what led us to today.
Oh, buddy.
So it was the beginning of November.
It was a weekend.
Yep, a weekend. And pretty much everything was normal.
Yeah, we were just hanging out at home. It was just a normal weekend. And all of a sudden, I just noticed Lev was having these kind of odd movements that looked like he couldn't control them. He couldn't control his body. It was just happening to him. I noticed he had them almost every single time he woke up. And once I started noticing that they were continual, I got out my phone and I started recording them. And what we were noticing was his one arm would like clench up, right? Like close to his chest. The other one would usually extend out or also clench. And then he would kind of crank his neck around, his eyes would kind of flutter, and then he would just like shake. Like his arms would be really stiff and they would just kind of shake. And that would last for like, I don't even know, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then he'd kind of have a little break. He'd do it again, 5, 10 seconds, right? And then it would kind of happen it would go on for like a minute, on and off. So he would have these almost every single time he woke up. So that happened on like a Saturday, and of course everything happens on a weekend when, hospitals aren't open. So I think we called on Sunday to the on-call pediatrician, and they just told us to watch it, and they said, if it gets worse, you could take him to the emergency room, but otherwise just call your pediatrician on Monday. So we did that. I watched him. They continued to happen. I guess I was a little suspicious that there were seizures, but I've never seen a seizure before, so I wasn't sure. I just was like, oh, does he have like kind of a weird like twitch, or, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I had no idea. So we recorded a bunch of videos of him doing this. I went to the pediatrician on Monday. He had one of these episodes with the nurse in the room, so the doctor like just missed it. And then our doctor came in, I showed him all the videos, and he right away was like, oh, yeah, that's abnormal. That's not something that should be happening. I'm gonna get you guys in contact with a neurologist at Children's. So he called me a little bit later that evening, and he gave me a neurologist's email, and he told me to email all those videos over to her. So we did that. She called, as soon as she watched the video, she called me right away, and she was like, I'm very concerned that these are seizures. She said, I'd like to get him admitted tonight. As soon as a bed opens up for him, I'd like you to bring him down to Children's. So that scared me. It was like
the urgency.
Just the urgency. Like, he needs to come now. As soon as the bed opens up, you need to bring him here. And I was really scared for Lev. I wasn't sure, what was going on. But to hear a doctor tell you your baby might be having seizures, or has high suspicion that they're seizures, it was just really sad. So we were like finishing up dinner.
I think I was at work, right?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe you were.
You just basically kind of informed me what was going on, and then that.
Yeah, you came home. We were trying to get the kids situated. We were trying to get either your mom or my mom over here to watch the kids because they had school the next day.
That was actually when they basically said to wait for a call, right? Because of the rooms.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So they said as soon as a room opened up. So we were
because of RSV and the hospital being so busy. They didn't have a room readily available. So they just basically said, stay by your phone. We're going to call you immediately when we do have a room available. Then you guys can drive down.
So we were frantic here. You and I. We were like.
We had to make sure we had to get childcare, someone to watch the kids,
someone to watch the dog,
get bags packed, and just basically be ready for the call that a bedroom opened up and we could head in.
Yeah, so your mom ended up coming over. and they called. And then, yeah, we put the suitcases in the car. I think we drove there around 10:30 p.m. 10 p.m. we were in the car.
Got down there at 11.
Yeah, got down there at 11. They put us in a room right away. They weighed him, did all that stuff, and then they hooked him up to an EEG. And I didn't know what an EEG was. I'd never seen that done. I didn't even know what it was. And it's where they glue these tiny little like metal buttons or electrodes like to the top of your head. And then it's like connected by wires. Those wires are connected to a pack, and then that watches his brain waves, and then they're able to, you know, look at them and see if they're abnormal. He hated getting that EEG. He cried. The glue smells really bad. Like if you've ever had an EEG, you know that glue is so strong. It smells like a nail salon times 100. It's disgusting. So that was a little traumatic at midnight to watch him so upset and fussy. But anyway, they got him hooked up. They said he was going to stay on it for like 48 hours, I think. They also said we had to have an MRI the next morning. So there was like some kind of confusion on when's the last time he's allowed to breastfeed. Remember that? They were like, you can't breastfeed. And so I stopped breastfeeding at like 4 a.m, but then he ended up not even getting it until like 11 the next morning. So I was pretty upset. But yeah, so what happened then?
So yeah, he was wearing the electrodes, right? And then had to go in for
his MRI. We walked him down there.
We had to leave him in there.
Yeah, the nurse said that she would text us with updates and that, you know, it would take about an hour or so. So we did that. We handed our baby off, and it was really difficult, but we walked out, and the nurse did update us. She said the anesthesiologist, that went really well, and everything went fine. We went back up to our room and actually met with Lev's heart surgeon at the time, because we were in the middle of choosing between heart surgeons. So we thought, while we're at the hospital, let's talk to the surgeons and figure out who we want while we're just waiting. And then they called us. They said he was done. We went back down, and we kind of just sat with him until he woke up. He handled everything really well. And the results came back. And they said everything looked normal. There's nothing like wrong with his brain. There's no like abnormal. There's no masses. There's no nothing like that. So everything, like development wise, is fine. Good, which is really good. And then while we were there, we just continued on the EEG. They told us anytime you had a seizure to press these big orange buttons. There's like
a seizure on them.
Yeah, and then you're also being videoed and
constantly.
Yeah, and with audio and video. So if you were to have a seizure, you press these buttons,
and everything starts recording. Anything from audio, video.
So we're supposed. They like trained us to say what's going on. Like say like, oh, his eyes are fluttering, his left arm is stiffening, whatever, right? So I remember he only had like 1 or 2 while we were there, which is surprising, because at home he was having them every single time he woke up. Okay. But he ended up having one there, which is good, because they needed to see it. The next morning, our neurologist came in. She informed us that what he was having were seizures, those abnormal movements. She diagnosed him with focal epilepsy. She said they were coming from the right side of his brain, so it was affecting the left side of his body. And they put us on medicine called Keppra right away to try to control the seizures. They gave him like some doses in his IV, and then we got a prescription, and that was kind of it, right? Then they sent us home after 3 days.
3 nights.
3 nights. We went home on Justin's birthday. Just the kids were excited. So we just went home, and they just told us to start taking Keppra twice a day and monitor him, and
which is a very normal seizure medicine. That's
it's like the introduction.
The introduction one. It doesn't have a lot of side effects. It's obviously the medicine that everyone hopes
will work.
Works.
Yes. Unfortunately, after being home for a few days or a day or two, I don't know where I am here. Is this right where we are?
No.
What?
No.
Oh.
It's close though.
Okay.
Yeah, he ended up still having seizures.
Yes. Well, yes.
Yeah.
So when he was in the hospital, I remember he had some movements that looked abnormal to me, and we double checked with the neurologist, and he was like, "No, I think that's okay. I wouldn't worry about those." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we went home, and he was still having these seizures. So after a few days, I called.
And we were recording them just because I told us to just continue to monitor, record, just explain what's happening, message them.
Yeah, in case the seizures were to come, to show up, to get worse, if they started changing or lasting longer, these were all things we were trying really hard to document. So the seizures were coming back.
Yep.
The Keppra wasn't working.
We ended up upping his dose a few times.
We upped his dose
to the max of Keppra.
Yeah, I think we upped it 3 different times. Yeah, to the max dose that he was allowed to take, and it still wasn't working.
Yep.
So then they introduced, they wanted us to pair another medicine with it, Topamax.
Yep.
So he started taking that, and I think we thought it was working for a little while. They kind of went away for a few days. And then I think we only started noticing one little episode a day, right? It was down to just 1 a day. And he was having 10 a day.
Yeah, whenever he would wake up from a nap or...
Yeah, he was having quite a bit. So to only see 1 a day, we're like, oh wow, that's a huge improvement. But then they started to change. Yeah. It started to involve his legs. Before it was just the upper half of his body. And then we started noticing it wasn't a stiff hold and shake. He was having jerking motions where he would do hold it but then jerk, and it would also include his legs would kind of come
almost
up.
Hold his breath for
and then let it go,
release. And
then he'd keep doing it. So I again recorded all of this. I sent it to his neurologist, and she was like, I'm a little concerned these are turning into infantile spasms. And infantile spasms it's still epilepsy. It's
another type of seizure.
It's another type of seizure, but it's a more severe seizure. It's rare. It happens, to kids that are infants. They tend to grow out of it around 1.5 years to possibly 5 years. I read.
More common in kids with Down syndrome.
Yes, and they are more common with kids in Down syndrome. So she had us come back to do another EEG overnight. Yep. And it's kind of a blur. That was the beginning of December, so it was about a month later. So we went in November, got diagnosed with focal epilepsy. His seizures, so they started to change. And then we went back again a month later in the beginning of December. Why don't you talk about that?
Do we stay?
I think we only stayed about 2 nights then. It wasn't as long.
Yeah. So I think they basically diagnosed him with infantile spasms.
Yeah, so he's put on the EEG again, and they watched his brainwave patterns, and she said that while he was at rest, he was having some irregular spiking. Yep. He was having spasm-type seizures as well, and she said, I think it was I don't remember what day of the week it was, but he was monitored that day, that evening, and then the next morning is when she told us the news of him having these spasms. And I've never heard of infantile spasms before. I don't even know. I've never heard of that in my life. Like we said, they affect just babies or infants and toddlers, but they are very dangerous. It can cause brain damage. It can cause regression. It can cause a lot of delays. And Lev having Down syndrome, it already has, he's already up against delays. So we didn't want him to get delayed even more. Yeah. So she told us that the best route for us to take was to start high hormone injections called Actar gel. So they kind of gave us a crash course really quickly on how to give injections, because they said that we would have to do this at home. And I've never drawn up medicine. We did
videos, and then...
Yeah, but we've never done it before. No. And the nurses came in with a fake, I don't know, skin or whatever, and had
fake leg, part of the leg, and then we did some training videos, and then they had to basically supervise us and watch us do injections into this fake leg, just to make sure that we knew what we were doing and we could kind of follow the process. I mean, they left us with, a book, and
we pretty much were like, here's a video, here's a binder on how to do it. We're going to show you how to do it quickly. And they did, and we practiced a few times at the hospital. And then they sent us home, and because ACTH is hard to get, it's not your normal medicine. We had to go through like a specialty pharmacy, and you have to get, it was an insurance battle. One vial costs like as much as a vehicle. It's insane. It's very expensive. And so they were like, we can't give it to you at the hospital because we can't get it. So you need to go home, and then it'll be FedExed to you. So I think it was like 3 or 4 days later, right?
Yep.
It arrived at our house cold. You have to keep it in the fridge. And we didn't start it right away because we were so nervous to give him his first injection. We wanted either a nurse to come over, or
we wanted to be supervised at the very least, just to make sure, you leave the hospital and you're like, okay, I can do it. And then it like comes down to it. You have the medicine there.
You got the medicine, you got the needles in front of you. It's like,
do I even remember what I'm doing, or am I even going to do it right?
Yeah, I was nervous.
So basically we just kind of advocated for ourselves and said, hey, we would like either someone to be there or, to video chat with someone. So we were able to get a nurse to video chat with us, right?
Yep.
That was the first time.
Yeah.
Video chat with us in the early morning.
It was like 7 a.m. She was walking us through how to drop the medicine. I don't know. Yeah. How to prep Lev and get everything ready, how to hold him.
And then, at that time too, we kind of decided pretty early on that I was going to be the one that was going to give all the injections, while Erika basically would breastfeed Lev slightly during it, but yet hold him and comfort him. Yeah. So we had that kind of all figured out, and
we had to switch legs every day. So he had to get 2 shots a day for 14 days. So we had to, switch injection sites every morning, like upper, lower, left, right. So he did that. He did 2 shots of high dose for 2 weeks, and then he was weaning off of it for 2 weeks after. I'm trying to think.
Had to take a few different medications while he was on it as well.
Yeah, we had a few bumps in the road because with the high hormone injections, it can cause hypertension, and Lev already has hypertension with his heart defects. It can cause like your glucose levels to be off. Stomach ulcers.
Blood in the stool.
Yeah, it also made him extremely cranky.
Yeah.
He was very, very crabby while he was on this.
Which we did know about. I mean, they did warn us of that.
But I guess
you don't really
know it until it happens.
Yeah.
And he also was aggressively hungry. He was very hungry. He gained weight really quickly.
Yeah.
Like he went from this tiny little thing to someone with little, he doesn't look this big in the video, but he's got chubby cheeks. He didn't have those before. And the saddest part I think for me was, well, for all of us, is he started to like lose his personality. Like he went from smiling and giggling to just kind of being there. Like he was in his body, but he wasn't really reacting to us. He wasn't looking at us. He wasn't laughing. He wasn't smiling anymore. It was just...
Yeah, and we just started seeing that, prior to, I guess, the medicine. And it was very slow buildup of him noticing us, and
right, because he's not, a typical child. He does have delays in that area, so we didn't.
Maybe the seizures were delaying him a little bit more too.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Yeah, but... so we just started seeing smiles a few weeks before starting these shots. So we were so excited, and we finally were seeing smiles, and we finally were seeing giggles, and then all of a sudden they were just gone. Yeah.
And it just almost seemed like he was just kind of there for the ride, and was just kind of...
He would just eat and sleep, and sleep, and he was just cranky. That was tough. That was a really tough 2 weeks. Once he started weaning off of it, though, we noticed him kind of coming back which was really exciting to see. However, another bump in the road was Christmas. Around Christmas time, both of our daughters caught COVID, and then eventually I caught COVID, and then Lev caught COVID. So that was rough. That was rough. We were trying our best to make sure he didn't catch COVID.
And we had everyone isolated too. We had Erika and Lev isolated in one room. We had Honor and Dempsey in another room, and then myself and Wells were downstairs in the lower level.
Yeah,
And
normally, I mean, I think when your kids get sick, we wouldn't have been so nervous. We would have just all hung out and whatever. You just all get it, right? And you move on.
But the shots make him autoimmune, so his immune system goes down, so it's a lot easier for him to catch any type of illness.
So we've been hiding away for like a month.
We had a scheduled open heart surgery for January 3rd, so we were doing anything we could just to avoid him getting sick.
And then all of a sudden, bam, he caught COVID. We called his cardiologist, and they informed us that he wasn't allowed to have heart surgery on January 3rd anymore. They had to push it back 4 weeks because I guess when kids have COVID, it can affect their lungs and stuff. So they want to make sure they're at their very best for surgery and that their lungs are clear and healthy. So
there's no infections or anything like that.
No inflammation and stuff. So we had to push it back to the 24th. So right now we're currently 2 weeks out from open heart surgery. Again, we are not going anywhere. We're trying our best to make sure he stays healthy. We're not taking him any public places. We just really want to make sure he's at his best for heart surgery. But yeah, so we finished up those shots yesterday. Monday. We finished up the shots Monday. That was like a big moment, like, because the shot seemed like such a huge like mountain to get over, and we did it. We did 28 days. Our boy is starting to come back to us. He had COVID. He recovered from COVID. We were really excited. Just that we did it. This was huge. And then he had a follow-up EEG. So that was last week, I think. Yeah, last week Friday. So they said, he'd do the shots and then we'll follow up with an EEG and see, how well the medicine worked. While being on that medicine, I didn't see him have seizures for like 10 days, right? Yeah. Like from the end of it, it was like 10 days. I didn't see any seizures. So we went into that EEG pretty confident that medicine worked. Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't. Well, it did its job. It did its job, but his brain didn't heal.
And we were probably slightly confused coming into the shots as far as like what the final outcome could have been with the gel, the Actar gel. We thought maybe like it would just cure the spasms and they would be gone.
And we'd be done.
I guess we didn't have like a full understanding that their main use is to basically control them. To let, I guess, the brain kind of heal.
Yes, so the whole purpose of anti-seizure medicine or the Actar gel is to control the spasms, get them to stop, calm the brain, and then so that the brain can heal itself. So that his brain can heal and he can eventually grow out of these spasms. So I was a little confused. I thought that we would just do this medicine and it would work and we'd be done. So to hear on Friday that he still is having spasms, it kind of put us in this boat now where we are right now. What's next? We have to choose another medicine. Or we have to pair another medicine with this Topamax.
Because we can only be on that the high hormone stuff for so long because it's too risky.
He can't be on it long term. And
so although it did its job, we have to transition into something else to basically subside the spasms.
To continue controlling his spasms until his brain heals and he grows out of this.
However that might be 6 months, 2 years, we don't really know. It's just kind of on him
and it's kind of a trial error with what medicines work and what medicines don't. So right now, currently, he's done with his shots. He is weaning off of Keppra because that medicine doesn't work for him. He's on Topamax. And our first option that she gave us was to just up his Topamax, which is what we're currently on anyway. So she's like, let's just up that, watch him and see if he has any more seizures. And, we'll do a follow-up EEG in like a week or so. so we upped his Topamax like 3 or 4 days ago. However, we're noticing since upping it, it's making him extremely tired. He doesn't have an appetite anymore. We actually just took him to the ER last night because we were nervous that he was dehydrated, and so does his doctors.
Hasn't been eating because of the tiredness. I mean, it does make him...
Yeah, Topamax makes you really sleepy. It makes you really tired. It makes you have no appetite.
Also no appetite, yeah.
Yes.
So
you know, when a baby needs to eat. So we lowered his Topamax yesterday to a little bit lower. Hopefully that'll help him.
Yep.
Today he still doesn't really have much of an appetite. I can't get him to nurse more than like a minute or two at a time. However, he's not dehydrated, so
yeah. After all the checks last night,
yeah, like he said he's holding his own. Yeah. He's okay, but we just need to continue to monitor him. So moving forward, we just have to continue to watch him, and if he does have an increase in seizures and we're noticing anything, then she wants us to start an aggressive medicine called vigabatrin. And again, that's another medicine that's hard to get. It's another medicine that's expensive. And it's another medicine that has risky side effects. The big one being vision loss, I guess. It's like tunnel vision.
Yeah. Loss of like peripheral.
Yeah, you like lose your peripheral.
That's one of the risks.
It's like a 30% chance.
Yeah.
Which is pretty up there. But that's if you're on high doses and you're on it long term. So, and we don't know. She said if we started vigabatrin, it would be a 6-week trial. If it worked, he would continue on it. If it didn't work after 6 weeks, then again, we'd be back to where we are now, trying to find another medicine that helps calm his seizures.
Yeah. So. And she did feel fairly confident that they probably wouldn't, hopefully not get those side effects.
Yeah.
But you never know. You read them and then you just automatically get scared. But yeah, and then open heart surgery on January 24th.
Yep.
So right now it's just about figuring out the spasms and getting that all fully under control with another medicine, whatever that might be, and then going into
heart surgery in 2 weeks.
Surgery 2 weeks and going through that.
Yeah, and whatever medicine we do choose, he can still have open heart surgery while on it, so that's good. Yeah, I mean, we're learning to be patient. We're learning that things don't go as you plan them to. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird.
Oh.
Yeah, it's odd. It's like stuff that comes up now for us. I don't really know if surprise isn't the right word, but it's just kind of like you're just rolling with the punches. And it's just like, like. Yeah, it's a letdown, but we're not. I guess things don't hurt as much as they used to. It just feels like God is preparing us and, trying to strengthen us in different ways.
He's got a plan. Yeah. We don't know what it is yet, but I think once this is all said and done, it'll be clear why we went through all this. Our buddy's strong and he's got this, and I don't know, I'm gonna cry.
But yeah, it's just a lot, and it's strengthened us as a couple and us as parents, and I don't know. I think we feel. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
I don't know how to explain it either.
I don't want to say like we're numb to like news now and everything else, but it definitely just doesn't affect us the way it used to. And I don't know if it's just that we're at a point now where we're continuing to get closer with God and just leaning more on Him, and just continuing to pray. And I guess maybe knowing too that
we have so much support behind us.
So much support. Yeah.
Like so many people have. I can't talk. You can talk, because I can't talk clearly. So many people have reached out and care about us and care about him, and
it's something we never imagined that we'd be in this situation.
But it's just really cool to see, when others are down or others are going through tough things, that other people are there to help you and pick you up. And I guess we've been really blessed with you know, 3 very healthy children, and we've seen other people go through hardships, and you know, you want to like help them, but you don't know how to help them.
Yeah.
And then for us now to be going through our own hardship with Lev, it has been really cool to see everybody just, I don't know, bring their own type of kindness to us with, you know, meals or just encouragement or hugs or whatever it is. It's just, you know.
And I think like one of the biggest things that we want to get out there too is that we still want to be there for others. And I think this is something Erika and I talked together today about, is that I think some people have a hard time, you know, talking to us because we still care about others, and we want to share the love that everyone has given us to others.
Yeah, I think sometimes people are a little hesitant to share their trials with us because they're comparing, you know, their story to ours.
Might be comparing what we're going through to what they're going through, and they don't want to.
Yeah, but
talk about the light in their life, but we want to hear that, and you know, so I probably just went off on a tangent, but I mean, I don't know, we just want to be there for everyone as you guys have been for us.
Yeah.
And don't ever feel like you have to, you know, hold your own story and things that you're going through, because what everyone else is going through could be on the same level that we are in our life, because everyone has their own.
It's equally
trials.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just want to say thank you for listening and, you know, watching this video and hearing our story and caring about our son. I truly hope that if any other parent is going through infantile spasms, epilepsy, open heart surgery, you know,
A child with Down syndrome.
A child with Down syndrome, anything, I hope that this,
any other.
Anything, truly, just that you'd reach out to us with questions, you know, because we know what it's like to be scared. We know what it's like to feel hopeful, to feel
like you're panicking constantly.
To feel worried, but feel happy. We know all the emotions, and I really just hope that this video can help other people as well, you know, going through similar situations. Yeah. Why are you? Oh, well, it's time to pick up our kids from school, so we need to end this video. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you all. Love you.
Bye.